Hello people, Super Ambassador again doing his thing. As usual, I jump on these videos, share my opinion, tell you guys what I think, and hopefully you also share your opinion with me in the comment section. We could have an exchange. We all get to learn, and usually I just say your opinion matters. Yeah. So I think today I'm going to zoom in on Nigeria.
I hear in Nigeria economists and politicians telling me that the GDP of Nigeria is 500 billion United States dollars, and that therefore it is the biggest economy in the world. I am reminded of the words of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, my friend, when he says, in a debate between dwarfs, what is the value of one dwarf saying I'm taller than the other dwarfs? You are still a dwarf. This Nigeria is capable in 5 years of becoming a 3 trillion GDP economy. The fundamentals are there. Talk of human resource. And I think it is my sister, you go to anywhere in the world, tell me, engineering, artificial intelligence, space, Nigerians. The saying goes, if you go to any part of the world and you do not find a Nigerian, run away from there. Because there is nothing to be done there. It is these Nigerians who will move the country. I keep on reminding my Nigerian friends, you say you are 220 million. No, you are not. I suspect you are 300 million. And if my suspicion is correct, you owe this region and this continent the talent. You know, when people talk about instability in Nigeria, I ask them, can you handle refugees from Nigeria? Can you? You cannot. They'll overwhelm the entire West Africa. So it is in Africans' genuine desire that Nigeria remains great and becomes great. All the ingredients are there. Writing in 1983, Chinua Achebe, in his book, The Trouble with Nigeria, said that it is simply and squarely a problem of leadership. That is an African problem, and I also want to say it is also a problem of followership. Before the Ezemwe started speaking, he talked about what is expected of him in the village. When you are appointed into a public office in Africa, they actually expect you to be a thief. And if you don't steal, they say you are not wise. So in the minds of many people in Africa, Abuja and Lagos are hunting grounds where they send their sons and daughters to steal, to take antelopes, which they share in the village. That thinking must change, because service for humanity is what we must look at. And I have no doubt in my mind that Africa can do it. When I look at Africa and I look at Nigeria, I see an Africa that is capable of rising because our sons and daughters now present in the continent and even in the diaspora. You go and see the Africans in the diaspora, whether they are in Antigua and Barbuda, and my good friend here, the ambassador of Antigua and Barbuda, Wallace Williams, Trinidad and Tobago, will agree with me in that regard. You go to St. Vincent's and Grenadines, you go to Jamaica, everybody now wants to come and invest in Africa. But we must make the circumstances right. So we must improve our politics. We must make our laws enabling. We must improve our agriculture. We must improve our health. We must improve our education system. We must improve the quality of the environment so that we stop our young men and women dying in the Mediterranean Sea, dying off the coast of Dhaka, going into modern day slavery in Saudi Arabia, in that part of the world. It can be done. We have seen.
Because I've been looking very closely at what's happening in Nigeria, all the complaints they are complaining about Honorable Jagaban, Tinubu, their president, and I'll look at you guys and tell you that you deserve what's happening to you. Take it with your chest. You made a choice. Live with it. Deal with it. I don't really appreciate when people act like they are victims when they had a conscious choice to make and they went the other way. I know people will say that no, there was rigging, there was this, but you guys facilitated that, and it was fellow Nigerians who facilitated the process if at all there was rigging. And those same people are still complaining now, even those who facilitated those for the rigging to take place. I have ministers here who were ministers of they were ministers controlling elections. When they have been arrested now in Cameroon, they write books to complain about the system. When you are facilitating the system, you never complain. It's when it becomes rough on your side or you feel like you're no longer getting what you deserve, then you complain. When you're receiving rice and maybe 10,000 francs, it looked like too much for you. It was much money for you at the time because of your need. It was fine to vote for him. Now the rice is finished, you start to strike. Nope, you guys will deal with it. One, I always blame the critical mass because I say, when I look at Nigeria, Nigeria is the biggest country in Africa, and that's the only country that can really save Africa. Because if Nigeria is strong, Africa will be strong. But if Nigeria is not strong, Africa cannot be strong. Why? When we look at corruption in Nigeria, it's at every level, and it's reflected in all other African countries. And for me, there's a strong correlation between corruption and a decrease in hard work, results, and social standing. So you cannot expect a system where crime is almost glorified, where you hear them referring to somebody who is doing something dubious like sharp guy, wise man, an influencer, but you all know what he's doing, and then you guys are acting like it's right. Secondly, voting by tribal lines. I watched this podcast where they're talking about most Yoruba people were saying Lekong or is Mekong or is what, where they're referring to Tinubu as their own candidate. This is their time, that's their own person. But even when you know that your candidate is not the best candidate for the country, you'll still vote him because it's Tinubu from the Yoruba side. Now, when there is suffering, it's not just Igbo suffering or just Hausa suffering. Everybody's suffering, including the Yoruba people, maybe even the Yoruba people more. So there was no point in voting according to those lines when you still suffer. And it's the poor people can easily get manipulated with those stupid lines like, what does, I tell people most of the time, I don't go by national lines, I don't go by those tribal lines, because if my common interest is not clearly spelled in that, when I say common interest, it's like where I'm found. It's not clearly spelled in that group. If my individual interest is not clearly spelled in the common interest, I have an issue with it. I'll tell somebody most of the time, where I'm from in Cameroon is 1 hour into Nigeria, but I'm a Cameroonian. Do you want to tell me that I have more similarities with somebody from the northern part of Cameroon than a Nigerian who is speaking the same dialect, same name, same cultures with me, just because they drew that line to say that this is Cameroon, this is Nigeria? I don't think so. So I might find it easier to do business with this guy here than with that guy there, although they have said we are Cameroonians. So when we have common interests as Cameroonians, our national team and those things, I'm 100% Cameroonian. But there are certain things where I don't go by those lines. Same thing with tribal lines. I tell people like where I was born, I was not born in my village. So there are certain things which I would connect more with people who are from the area where I was born and have grown up compared to those from my village. So I'm not going to say because I'm from this village or they told me I'm from this village, so that's where everything has to start and end. I'm thinking from a logical perspective. So if people still go by those things and those corruption and tribalism, that kills, should I call it, the talent pool? Because now what happens? A large chunk of Nigerians is Japa, they're moving out. So if I have a count of, let's say it's 230 to maybe some places even 250 by now. 230 million people. Look at that talent pool. If that talent pool is well developed and is spread into Africa, that's development for the whole of Africa for sure. Because even right now we know Nigerians are everywhere in Africa doing business, are experts doing this and that. But if there is war and this talent pool goes in as refugees, that's pressure on the whole of Africa, at least sub-Saharan Africa. So we just have to make that choice of, are we watching Nigeria go down, or are we all going to, at least I'm saying something about it. But I think the starting point is for Nigerian leaders and influencers to help to create an enabling environment where the youths can be enlightened on some of these issues and then hopefully have the transformational effect they want to see in their country. But till then, guys, we're in for a long walk. And as I said, We all hope for the best. Drop your comments in the comment section. I'm going to exchange with you guys. Hopefully we learn. This is just my opinion. Give your own opinion and let's see. I'm out. Ambassador.
Just my opinion.